As America faces this 10th night of protests, these now familiar scenes still do offer, think about it, several contrasts to past periods of racial strife. There's more public support for the protests than in recent history. Many crowds are more diverse in age and race than previous other efforts. And one of the sharpest contrasts comes from the top. Unlike all modern examples, Donald Trump's not even going through any motions of urging calm or supporting peace and diversity right now, which past presidents in both parties have strived to do.
And we shall overcome.
American can be proud of the progress we have made toward equality, but we all must recognize we have more to do.
As Americans, we got to use this moment to seek out our shared humanity that's been laid bare by this moment.
If we are to remain the most vibrant and hopeful nation on earth, we must allow our diversity to bring us together, not drive us apart. We must build a future where in every city across this country, empty rage gives way to hope, where poverty and despair give way to opportunity.
That last remark was President Bush touting diversity after the infamous LAPD beating of Rodney King, an incident caught on tape at a time before cell phones, when personal video recording was very rare. Bush's response shows one standard Trump is failing. And beyond presidents, there are many other examples set by regular citizens outside of politics. In fact, in the same year Bush was speaking, 1991, another young man, raised by a Black Panther leader, came forward saying LAPD officers confronted him after he crossed the street, then attacked him using a chokehold, slamming his head into the concrete, knocking him unconscious. He filed a lawsuit and held a public address about it, stressing this was a routine practice against Black men. He shared pictures of his wounds. He said he hoped to draw more scrutiny to this because while he was famous for his music, others couldn't get the same attention. This was a then 20-year-old artist named Tupac Shakur.
They were charging me with jaywalking, so I was riffing, arguing about why would they charge me with such a petty crime. So I kept yelling, asking them to give me my citation and let me go about my business. Next thing I know, my face was being buried into the concrete and I was laying face down in the gutter, waking up from being unconscious in cuffs.
Waking up from being unconscious. Today, people are marching about more than that single case in Minnesota. In fact, we hear from so many saying they are fed up, that this is endless. We need to listen to these statements. And as with any claim, we need to then listen and see if it's true. So we look at the facts and the history, which features these many accounts of this same pattern of brutality.
For everybody who don't know, as if it doesn't happen every day, everywhere, I, an innocent young Black male, was walking down the street smoking, minding my own business in the police department. Next thing I knew, I was in the chokehold, passing out.
You can see this, Mr. Cameraman. All of this is scars I'll go to my grave with.
I can see it.
These are learn to be a scars. That's what
Who did that to you?
Oakland Police Department. All above my eye, all of that.
You're suing them?
For 10 mil.
We'll see
what else
happens.
Can I do? You know,
yeah.
We'll see what happens. You know how that go.
Yeah.
Rodney King's still fighting for his, and they got it on tape.
They got it on tape. Yes, they did. But those officers who beat Rodney King were acquitted in their local trial. The officers who knocked Tupac unconscious, they actually settled his civil suit against them, and Shakur would go on to have several problems with the law. But when we do this seriously, when we listen to people today and people across history, and yes, people who are no longer here allowed to tell their stories, I think we can hear and we can see, and if we try, we can feel how, over all these years, what I just showed you is 25 years old, too little has changed. So many of these old stories and pleas, they register today because they apply today. People are asking America to get the police to stop abusing and killing them. In 1970, in 1991, you just saw, and now in 2020. They're asking America to get the police to stop killing them under the cover of night or in broad daylight, on tape or off the grid. during normal times or during a pandemic. It's all the same plea. America, can you get the police to stop abusing and killing innocent and unarmed people? And that's not all. There are core conditions that feed racism and abuse and inequality. These activists and civil rights leaders and artists who have been speaking on this for so long, we should listen to that too. Tupac was famous and apparently infamous among some of those police officers precisely because he had been speaking out on all of that. He would do so until he died. So as America reels right now, and as so many people tell us night after night after night, that this isn't just about right now, it's about the history. It's about how we got here and continue to be in this place. Let's listen to much of what he said back then that does sadly apply today. Let's really listen to what we're learning from people and hearing from people about the system. And as you listen to this, our final thought in tonight's broadcast, I want you to keep in mind what you're about to see was a young man who was just 23 years old at the time. This was a few years after the incident with the California police. And he says, when people are hungry and desperate, when people need food, and when people watch their own peaceful leaders murdered as they ask for help, those conditions will shape how people respond.
Open the door. Let me see the party. Let me see like them throwing salami all over just like throwing food around. But they're telling me there's no food in here. You know what I'm saying? Every day. I'm standing outside trying to sing my way in. You know what I'm saying? We are hungry, please let us in. We are hungry, please let us in. After about a week, that song is going to change to we hungry, we need some food. After 2-3 weeks, it's like, give me all the food, breaking out the door. And after a year, then you just like, you know what I'm saying? I'm picking the lock, coming through the door, blasting, you know what I'm saying? It's like you hungry, you reached your level, you don't want any more. We asked 10 years ago. We was asking with the Panthers. We was asking with them, with civil rights movement. We was asking, now those people that were asking, they're all dead and in jail. So now what do you think we're gonna do? Ask?
Let's keep listening. That's the sound of a very informed voice narrating why people were fed up. That was 25 years ago. America faces a larger reckoning now. We fail to listen and act at our own peril. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.